Hey out there, this is Buzz with the Survival Buzz. Wanted to take a second to thank everybody that showed up for the live stream I was on over at Maccabeus Everyday Survival Saturday night. I had a lot of fun over there. Hopefully be able to do some more of those, but I appreciate everybody that did come over there to watch. Actually shooting a video outside tonight. Man, it is t-shirt weather. Hard to believe. Originally had a flannel on out here to feed my chickens and started sweating, so apparently we're still in t-shirt weather. You know, I feel like we as human beings have all gone through heartache and trials and tribulations throughout our lives, and it's really easy to lose focus and lose touch with God even. I always thought of myself as a God-fearing man through my whole life, and well, this last year has really just brought a lot of surprises for me, to say the least. And it seems the more I get into my prayer, you know, I've never read the Bible much in my life. I wasn't raised in a holy household or even reading the Bible and things like that. I thought Jesus was just somebody we talked about around the holidays. But the more I've gotten into prayer, the more I've gotten into reading the Word, I feel like I've drawn really close to the Lord, really drawn close to God. And it's easy to lose focus and lose touch and get lost, not, you know, get lost from the path that we're supposed to take. You know, everybody, there's a plan for everybody. God has a plan for everybody. And right now God's plan for me is to spread the good word and try to help people maybe find that path that they've gotten lost off of over the years. And it's easy to do. It really is. With as crazy as the world is, as evil as everything is, it's easy to lose touch and lose focus. And it's easy to get discouraged even with prayer and things, because I know God can move mountains. I know He can do it in anybody's life. He can change things. He has the power to do that. But there's also that thing that a lot of people forget about, and that's free will. So when you're praying for people, you're praying for yourself, what your situation, whatever it may be, you have to remind yourself that God does have a plan. And although it seems hard at times and we can't see it, and we want to damn God and do things on our own, we really have to lean on Him, especially in these crazy times that we're living in. You know, I hit the ground every morning praying, and a lot of it's done me some good. It really has. It's changed a lot of things in my life. I'm talking to people that I had lost touch with, that I never thought I would talk to again, simply by just praying for it. But like I said, there's free will. Somebody really close to me has lost their way. They've lost their path. They've lost their lamp. And I pray for them day and night, multiple times a day. And I get discouraged. As much as I see God working in my life and things I pray about actually changing and wonders just unfolding right in front of me, there's just some things that, with free will with people, there's just some things that are never going to change. Only that person can decide to change their life. And God's not always speaking to me. And I'm not on here preaching that I'm better than everybody else, you know, but this last Saturday, I was laying in the floor praying, first thing, like I always do, and I was praying for good health, and not for myself. You know, I know there's a lot of things, that I would like to do in life that I haven't experienced, a lot of joy and happiness and experiences that I would like. But I prayed for my health, for my family, because I know times are getting crazier, and I've led a destructive life up till this point, and I have little ones and family that I feel like are going to rely on me in these times. And God actually spoke to me and told me over and over and over, I was praying for my health, that up till Saturday, the only, I guess, substance abuse issue I had anymore is I was vaping, nicotine. And he told me over and over after I prayed for my health that to put it down, man. Put it down. Deprive myself of that worldly object, that thing I relied on to calm my nerves. And it's been hard. It really has. But I know if I denied that, if I denied what he was saying to me, that it wouldn't turn out good for me. And like I said, I'm not on here trying to say I'm better than anybody. I know people have problems, and for all I know, I could pick up a vape, a week from now. I don't know. But you have to listen. You have to listen. That little voice inside your head that everybody likes to call their conscience, sometimes that's God talking to you, and he's telling you what you need to do, and you're just not listening. You're being stubborn about it. All right, my arm's getting tired. I hope I'm not making too much audio noise here. But people have free will, and there's, even yourself and other people, sometimes it doesn't matter how much you pray. Things are just the way they are. That doesn't mean you give up. You keep praying. You keep praying, and you keep trusting in God that things are going to get better. And if they don't, then God has a plan for that. There's a reason that it's bad. There's a reason that a person might not be in your life, or they might be headed down the wrong road, and it's horrible. It's a really crappy feeling to feel like God's not changing things the way you want him to, but there's a reason for it. And a lot of people get confused with, God's going to provide, and he will. He will provide, but he also gives us that free will. He also gives us that voice in our head that tells us that we should prepare and do things. And, as much faith in things I have, I still put back food and things. I'm still preparing because, well, God told me to, and he could easily do it for us. But that's not what life's about, right? That's not what life's about. I don't know where this video is going, and I didn't really have a plan for what I was going to say when I turned the camera on. I just know that, God is always talking, and we just have to listen. But the quiet times when he's not talking, it doesn't mean that he's not there. He's always right beside us. But even in the quiet times, our faith is tested to the core. It's tested more than when he is speaking with us. When he is talking to us, it's probably a lot easier, to stay down the right path. But there's times that he's going to let you be, and I honestly feel like that's just a test of your faith, to really see how loyal you really are. In the Bible, there's the story of Job. He went through so much. He lost so much. And he even almost lost his way, but you got to lean on God. Times are going to get harder than they are now, and you're going to lose a lot of people in your life. Maybe not to death per se, but God's going to pull people out of your life like he has done me, because he knows they're not doing any good for your life. That doesn't mean that you stop praying and stop hoping that things will change. You pray even more. But you have to stay faithful no matter what life is going to throw at you. God bless y'all and your families, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Later.